I'm also going to be out there seeking the more advice of experts outside, from academia to editorial writers to think tanks, to get their perspective on what we should be doing, seeking more input, more information, more constructive criticism about what I should and shouldn't be doing.
President Biden vowing to take more outside advice. As the New York Post claims, he's not even in charge.
All right, so maybe he's got his pen available and he's going to write some tips here. The Post claims Ron Klain is really making the decisions following the reports he spoke to Democrats after last week's presser, insisting any revised spending bill will fund child and elder care, even though Biden never said that.
The Post adds, quote, Klain's private comments are yet another indication the White House has a core set of priorities it plans to fight for, even if the president doesn't know about it fully. Here to react, Fox News contributor and former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. Newt, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing okay, but we're scratching our heads. You know, this kind of is good analysis for, remember a couple of months ago when it sounded like the Department of Justice was negotiating with the families of migrants $450,000 per person who was separated from their parents with the children. And then Joe Biden said, I never heard anything about it. Well, apparently they didn't tell him about it, but stuff's going on. Do you think Ron Klain's running the show?
Well, I think probably as much as any one person. Remember, Biden has very limited energy levels. So if he does a 2-hour press conference, my guess is it took most of his energy for 3 or 4 days. The amount of information he's going to receive is going to be very, very limited, maybe the most limited of any modern president. So other people have to keep the game going forward. And I think you see this happening again and again. He is, you know, I think on the really big decisions, he probably plays a major role. But my sense is that he actually knows less about his own government and knows less about what's going on around the world than most presidents in my lifetime.
Let's talk about Russia now. As far as sanctions, we can always remove them, but we want to send a message to Putin. There are consequences if he invades Ukraine. Are we past the point of deterrence, though, at this point?
Well, I mean, first of all, the Obama-Biden administration was going to put sanctions on after Putin seized Crimea. I don't think they had any effect at all. In fact, if anything, they convinced Putin that he could ignore those kind of threats. Putin now controls Germany because they made a series of bad decisions, as a result of which the German economy has to have Russian natural gas. The Germans would be going into a cold winter, collapsing economically and collapsing in quality of life if the Russians actually cut it up. So the Germans are very much against NATO taking too strong a role. Meanwhile, the Russians have sort of expanded the playing field. They've now announced that they want to have military maneuvers off of Ireland, which the Irish have protested about. At the same time, their ally, China, is flying 23 aircraft over Taiwan. And I think everybody is watching to see what the United States does. If we flinch, and if we convince the dictators that we can be pushed around, they're going to push very hard, because Biden may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rip off our allies and have nothing done. And I think it's very, very dangerous.
I just think, too, when it comes to Germany, the Nord Stream 2 is not online yet. And we have natural gas. We could provide an emergency plan to get them natural gas and let them know, even if it's at a discount rate, we got your back on this, and we got all of Western Europe on that. And I would just like to add this. His mistake by showing that I'm going to allow an incursion and the walk back and blowback has actually forced him to dig in, because now he sees the embarrassment of what it would mean to do nothing